Thinking about self-publishing and don't know where to start? Join the Spa Girls each week for 30 minutes of honest advice, tips and resources. I'm Trudy J and I am here with Shah Barrett.
Hi.
Wendy Valor.
Hello.
Cheryl Phipps.
Hi there.
And we have a repeat guest, the one, the only, Lucy Score.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me back.
That is no worries at all. It's a delight. So we had you on about a year ago. We just decided. So we thought, well, why not? Let's get you back and see how you've been going. But first, before I allow you to speak, I'm going to read your bio so people know who you are.
As if they don't already know.
I know.
Yeah,
as
like,
if they don't.
what have they been doing? Living under a rock?
Yeah, for
Exactly.
those people living under rocks,
Catholic.
this is the bio that we have. Lucy Score is a Wall Street Journal and #1 Amazon best-selling author. Small town contemporary rom-coms are her lady jam, and she and she enjoys delivering the feels with a huge side of happily ever after. Her books have been translated into several languages, making readers around the world snort, laugh, swoon, and sob. Or is it supposed to be a snort laugh? Snort, laugh.
It can be
swoon.
either or.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably do both.
Yeah.
Lucy lives in Pennsylvania with a devastatingly handsome Mr. Lucy and their horrible cat. It's a very big juxtaposition there. And in her spare time, she enjoys sleeping, drinking copious amounts of coffee, and reading all the romance novels in the universe.
Wow.
That's a
busy
well done.
thing to do. Busy.
Yeah, it's a busy day you've got there.
Real busy.
That's what the coffee's for.
Yeah.
So Lucy, what have you been doing in the last year? Tell us, get us up to date just quickly.
I have been doing the same thing over and over again every day. It has definitely felt very Groundhog's Day for me. But to be honest, that's kind of how the life of a writer goes if you're already working from home.
Yeah.
And, it just took away my socializing, which moved to things like Zoom. So, yeah, I just buckled down and wrote, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But with a great result too.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
So tell our listeners what just happened in the last 2 weeks.
You tell us.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, I'm so glad.
I'm so glad you asked.
I had a new release come out almost 2 weeks ago called Forever Never, and it was awesome. It was great. It was one of those books where the writing process is kind of a complete disaster. And then once it gets out into the world, it's this shiny, sparkly little gem. And you're like, oh yeah, I totally did that on purpose.
After you've been through all that hell to get it there.
Yes, it was, you guys know I write long. I cannot write short or concisely, and it's just the bane of my existence. So, I'll sit down and I'll be like, okay, this book is going to be 120,000 words, and I'm like, that's pretty long, but yes, I'll overestimate 120,000 words. This one was 150,000 words.
Wow!
I know. I don't know what I was doing.
Oh my gosh.
But the characters just kind of like ran away from me on the page, and they were doing all these things that I hadn't planned on. And I loved them so much. I just kind of followed them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it ended up being this big small town romantic suspense, the kind of a second chance love story, opposites attract. I just threw all of my favorites in there. And I was a little nervous because it's, I write steamy romance, but this was like extra steamy. This was like molten lava steamy. and in the editing, I did not tone it down because when I was rereading, I was like, no, I still like this. So we put it out there, and it has been sitting in the top 5 on Amazon since it came out. So I'm really, really excited. And I hit #1 in Australia, which was really good.
Yay! Well done.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Huge.
So
And it was #2 for a while.
Got up to #2.
Yes, it was #2 for almost
store.
2 straight weeks here in the
Phenomenal.
US.
That is so good. I've got it on my Kindle ready to read. Just
oh boy, I can't wait.
I'm glad I'm going home.
Yeah.
So what we'd love to talk to you about today, Lucy, is so that we created this cool little tagline, the 3 R's, and one of them is the release strategy. So we'd love to talk about what you do when you release a book. The next one is reader groups, because you have the world's most awesome reader group. And the last one is relationships. So you've done a little bit of collaboration and other things around relationships that we'd love to talk to you about. So I'm going to rock us into the launch strategy topic.
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay. So
Bryce.
just out of curiosity, was there something different that you did for this release than others, or is it you have a set thing that you do for every release?
I think for every standalone, we go a little bit bigger with our ad spend because the standalones generally draw a bigger audience than my series releases. So my last release was The Mistletoe Kisser in December. That was a Christmas book in my small town rom-com series, Blue Moon. So that one was, that was number 8 in a series. And it was adorable and fun. It was a great launch, but that was for my existing readers. I wasn't really going to be bringing in a ton of new readers that way. So with Forever Never, we go bigger with the ads. We do more ads. So I like to write. I like to write, guys.
Surprise.
I like to do all the promotional copy myself. So as I'm writing the book, I really try to start pulling lines that I think will be fun teasers, scenes that I think will be fun to share on social media or when the audiobook comes out, things like that. And then I kind of use all of that information and I'll build a series of like at least the content, sometimes the pictures, before I turn it over to marketing guy Rick. So we definitely went bigger with the ads this time because we were expecting to bring in more new to me readers. The big thing for me is always my newsletter. And what's fun is every launch, my newsletter has never been bigger than it is at that launch. So right now my newsletter is massive, and it's just really exciting to hit send on that newsletter and wait and see what happens. It is so exciting and also nerve-wracking and crazy, but that's what being an author is, I guess. So the newsletter is really, really important. And, that only costs me what the newsletter service costs.
How often do you send that in the build up to it?
I send an email every week, which is kind of crazy. And I don't know why so many people are still not unsubscribing because
newsletters are amazing.
Awesome.
But just like my books, they're so long.
They're great.
But they're also on brand. They are you, aren't they? Yeah.
I do ramble a lot, and I do have a lot to say on a bunch of topics that nobody is really going to care about. So it's definitely on brand. So every week, I usually don't reveal too much about the books leading up to it. I don't reveal the blurb, the title, or the cover until about 2 weeks out, usually.
Wow.
And that's just, I don't know, that's just a procedure that kind of fits well, because I think with romance, especially with how many people are receiving so many other romance novelists emails and they're in reader groups and everything, it's so easy for them to get oversaturated or start confusing one book with another, if I feel like if I start talking about a book like 3 months out, they're going to think that book came out. That's what I do when I see a reader who's like, hey, 6-month pre-order. And when it launches, I'm like, hasn't this book been out forever? So I think I just kind of tailor my launch strategy to fit people like me who don't pay enough attention to what's going on. So we really compress the excitement period. So the arcs will go out on the same day that my newsletter, or that the cover reveal and blurb, all of that goes out. So the ARC team is very excited to get this book, and then everybody else is really excited to see the blurbs and the covers and start speculating about what the book's going to be about. So that's part of the launch strategy, and that we don't vary from very often. I did a surprise release once, and I didn't like that, but we really kind of stick to 2 weeks out. This is everything.
So does audio, print, ebook, everything go out then, or?
No, that would be great. That would be super great. Ebook and print go live on release day, but audiobook, I want the audio, the narrators to get the cleanest version possible. And I'm just so paranoid. So the narrators usually don't get the book until like it's launched. So Forever Never is in production right now. And this is one book that we're actually on top of. Like Riley Thorne just came out, and that was, the audiobook just came out for that like last week. And the book has been out since July. So
it's hard though, right? A while. It's hard to get all the balls in the air, you know?
It really is. And, you know, I don't think audio is my strongest suit. So that is more like a cherry on top for me. Like I love the audiobooks. I love our narrators and everything. And we're definitely building an audio audience, but I don't see myself ever being able to do an indie simultaneous launch because I don't know, that would just mean I would know that there would be a typo or something lurking in that book, and I would know that it would get recorded in audio, and it would drive me crazy forever.
Exactly. Like forever and ever.
Sometimes the audio people pick up those typos, just saying.
They do. So
it might not be in the audio.
Just
saying. So how often do you release? Like, how often are you releasing books?
I try to do 3 to 4 a year. I think this year we're going to end up with 3. Yeah, we're planning 3 releases this year. So this will be about every 4 months.
They're big books. They are big books.
I think one year I released 6 books, and looking back, I don't know how I did that. I cannot comprehend how I did that. I must have left some chapters out or something.
Or you didn't sleep, or wash or eat, you know?
But as you get more books, the maintenance of all of that takes more time, doesn't it? You know, updating them with links and things like that. All of that takes time.
It does.
So, and the marketing.
It does. Thankfully, I have Mr. Lucy and I have my team Lucy to handle. He's back here. He just did a victory symbol.
Okay, you, Mr. Lucy.
But thankfully for them, I cannot wrap my head around all of the things that my team does for me, that so many other indie authors, they are doing it themselves. And that is incredible. It's just an astronomical amount of work. If you want to do things, I'm using air quotes, right? There's so much that can be done and should be done. And we have a really nice sized team, and we're still not doing it all, you know.
How many people have you got on your team, Lucy?
I have, Mr. Lucy, Tim, he is my publisher. My brother came on full time this year, so he is handling a lot of communication stuff, dealing with designers, the piracy issues, which could totally be a full-time job. Just filling a lot of gaps that we had where things were falling through the cracks. I have my PA, my assistant, who's part-time. Hi, Joyce. I have my pal Tammy is a volunteer. She won't let me pay her, so hi, Tammy. And then we have marketing guy Rick on the team. So he's with us part-time and handles our marketing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. And I love your email. Is it your dad who comes on to the group?
Yes.
Papa
Lucy comes into my reader group.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And when your brother did the email newsletter was great too.
I tried to talk him into doing it this week because I was like, we're at the beach right now, and I'm still writing, but the beach off season makes me super lazy. And I emailed him yesterday. I was like, maybe you want to do the newsletter again this time. And he's like, I don't know. This week's newsletter, it's from me. Yeah.
Go back and tell him Wendy says he should do it because
Wendy
he's awesome.
says
Wendy said,
you need to do it. Yeah.
I love the way he worded it. You could tell that it was brilliant. Lucy's basically made me do this. It was so funny because supposedly she's working.
Hilarious. Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah. It was good.
Funny.
Really
so
good.
so we go back to the actual topic at hand.
Oh yes.
Sorry
about it.
Focus.
Yeah. 10 minutes ago. Sorry.
Yeah. So really, it's around. So you word of mouth, like through your reader group. So you launch it to them. Do you you create a sort of a buzz around this is the exclusive launch into the reader group and the newsletter, or is it just here it is? Or
leading up to it, especially as I'm writing the book, I will drop little nuggets in the group. I will tell my group more than pretty much anybody else what I'm working on. And I don't go too far because there's a lot of readers who really hate spoilers, and some of them are more spoiler sensitive. So being like, there's a hero and a heroine, they're like, no, don't tell me anymore. But I like to, I'll drop little lines, or Forever Never started for me when I was writing another book, and this scene just like slammed into my head, and I stopped the other book for an hour so I could get the scene down.
Oh, wow.
And I sent it to my assistant, and I sent it to Joyce and Tammy. And we went back and forth over Messenger for 2 hours, like brainstorm. And the way we brainstorm is like, let's throw all these terrible, crazy ideas at each other until something sticks. So, and that's how Brick became Brick.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, I don't know what his name is. Nobody has any names, but I want a really cool manly man name. And Tammy's like, how about Brick? And I'm like, that's terrible. I love it. So, it's actually his nickname, but But
cool.
yeah,
It's
so
a cool nickname.
I was reading the blurb and it was like Brick and Remy, and I was like, wow, those are unusual names.
Brick and Remington Honeysuckle.
Even further.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mr. Lucy came up with Remington. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Andy.
the reader group always gets the little nuggets as I'm writing, and especially with the standalones, there's a lot of nuggets. So by the time the book comes out, we're all excited. We're really, really excited for that book to get in the hands of readers. Yeah. So that definitely.
Do you pre-order at all, or?
Yeah, we do really short pre-orders. Live releases stress me out. The last live release that we did, it didn't go live when it should have. So I was 12 hours into release day and there was no book. And that was really upsetting to me. So we do really short pre-orders, and that way the newsletter is ready to go.
2 weeks or a week, or what do you do?
I think it's around a week to 2 weeks. I think that's what we do. And we don't really announce it. Readers always find it immediately. It'll go up, and within a minute somebody's in the reader group. The pre-order's live.
Get in there.
Watch it refresh.
But we do it mainly just so we can have all of the marketing and news. Everything has the links, everything is ready to go. So it's a lot less stressful for the whole team and me on launch day.
So you're not advertising to the pre-order and saying, pre-order's live. It's all based on it. There is still a date that you go, it's live.
Yes. And that's me being rank conscious. I really, really want that number one spot again. Yeah. So pre-orders, they don't like hurt your rank, but they count differently towards your rank on launch day. So the more live purchases you have, they weight your rank differently. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I did not know that. So
and we're all busy writing. I don't know if you noticed.
I was like, wow, it got real quiet.
I was like, oh, did not know. Okay.
We did know that. We did know that because that's why when you're after USA, like a New York Times, like it's all about the actual ranking on release, not the pre-orders. So on the other sites, they count the pre-orders. The rank is adjusted on the day of release. Amazon, the pre-orders count as the pre-orders come in. So your ranking, you don't get that big boom. It's velocity. You don't get the same velocity.
How about you've never told us that before?
I think she has.
Well, we didn't know it. We just said we didn't know.
There's going to be a fight.
But here's the thing. I think it because we're as a Spa Girls, we're more kind of Amazon focused. You actually sometimes that information for the wide audiences is kind of put to the side, which isn't actually a good thing. So I think it behooves all of us to be aware of how these things work.
definitely.
Lucy, are you still exclusive to Amazon, or are you wide?
I am. I'm still exclusive. All my books are in Kindle Unlimited right now, but I did one new thing this year. I signed a deal with a traditional publisher for 2 books. So that the first one will come out in 2022 with Grand Central Publishing.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice,
So that'll
congratulations.
build a new audience, and hopefully they'll transition across to.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm interested to see how it goes, and I've been in talks with the editor there, and I really like her. And what's nice is the first book's already done.
Yeah.
I already wrote
series?
it.
Are you writing a
No,
series?
it's going to be 2 standalones.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow, good on you.
That'd be
thanks.
interesting to see, because would you be allowed to participate in the launch in that kind of environment? I suppose you've still got launching to your reader group and your newsletter as part of that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how marketing is different for a wide book with a traditional publisher, and how involved I'll be and all of that. It'll be a new experience.
Okay, so we'll book you in for 2020.
coming out in June 2022.
June, okay, June 2022.
LUCY SCORE, the hybrid author.
Yeah.
Isn't that just so? Doesn't that just show the difference though? Like, we're talking 2022 mid-year for a traditional book. Like, it's just hard to wrap your head around the time still.
It's so different because I wrote that book last summer. I had an agent approach me and ask if I'd be interested in working with some traditional publishers, and I talked to the team about it, and we decided to give it a shot. And he's like, well, okay, well, write a book for me and I'll pitch it. And I was like, oh, okay. I got to do some work now. So I squeezed a book in between my indie launches, like writing a book in between these indie launches. And then like just sitting on it for basically 2 years is really weird to me.
Yeah, that's right. When you could be making the money off it.
I know. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It'd be fascinating to see how it goes though.
You better do well, book.
With your marketing, is it Facebook and Amazon mainly advertising that you work with?
It's right now it's mostly Facebook. We just have not been able to get our AMS ads to perform the way that my team is comfortable with. So we definitely put a lot more focus and energy and effort into Facebook ads. But that's where we're getting that's where we're getting our audience from. So
wow,
that's cool. So I want to go back to your newsletter a little bit. So are you willing to put a number on massive, or when you said how many it is, how big it is?
Sure. Actually, let me look right now. If I click out of this, is this going to ruin? Okay, it's not going to ruin anything.
You've broken the podcast.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if I did. Okay. I'm logging in right now.
Okay. Who do you use? What's your
I'm still on MailChimp.
Okay.
That's interesting, isn't it?
We've been with them since the beginning, and at this point it's just easier to stay. And I don't, I'm not really, that's bigger than I thought. That's what she said.
So they always say.
It is 124,000 subscribers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that is a huge boost when you send it out for a book.
It is. You see where? Yes. It is. It is. That's
wowzers.
And can we talk a little bit about open rates and things like that? Are we allowed
Sure. I'm not happy with my open rate, but the numbers are like Tim is rolling his eyes at me right now.
Stop it, Tim.
I'm not saying my open rate is bad, especially not for this number. I'm just saying that I want a higher open rate. I talked to Mark Dawson at a conference in 2019. Oh, okay. Mr. Lucy's giving me signals. I talked to Mark Dawson and I was complaining to him about my open rate. And he's like, well, what is it? And I told him and he's like, stop complaining.
Yeah.
So I think with a send and resend, I am probably about 28%, maybe
all
up
right.
to
Yeah.
30%. The launch emails get a higher open rate.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
you know, we'll still see one where I don't have really any news and it's just me blabbing, and it'll be like a 21%. So it's, you know, I know a lot of authors who get like 60% open rate, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And they're like, yeah, but if you look at the bigger number, okay, I understand.
And they do say that as the numbers get higher, the open rates go lower. So
very much.
It's not.
Do you cull?
That's amazing.
You cull
we
regularly?
Yeah. We do, because it's expensive.
Yes, you know? Of course. Yes.
And I don't want people on here who don't want to hear from me. I do not want to be showing up in their inbox every day, because sooner or later that someone is going to have a bad day and they're going to be like, I never signed up for this. This is spam. And then I'm going to see that they reported me for spam and I'm going to get mad.
Do you get a lot of emails from readers?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have a hard time keeping up. Mostly because I overcomplicated the process. But I have a lot of ways that emails can come in to me. And I usually, so I have it on my to-do list that pretty much every day I'm checking a different email inbox. But if I love hearing from readers, but sometimes I hate I stress out over the response, because I want them to get a good response from me. I want them to open that email and feel like we've had like a connection or something. So I put a lot of effort into my email responses, even when they're really short. There's an emoji and there's multiple exclamation points.
I got one back from you once. I emailed to say, hey, great newsletter, and you came straight back with thanks, emoji, XX Lucy.
That
takes a lot of time. That's not just a 5-minute job. It's not even a 30-minute job. It's a lot of investment in that connection. And I know that fits to our R for relationships. But just before we get off the topic of newsletters, has it been purely organic? Have you done, how have you built to that number?
In the very beginning, I was building it in really traditional ways. I was doing some newsletter swaps and things like that. And I had slowly built it to around 5,000, which was really good. And at that time, I went to a conference in Florida called NYT, and I met Damon Courtney from BookFunnel. And in his workshop, he was talking about all the different ways. BookFunnel is software that delivers content to readers. And so he was talking about different ways that authors had used BookFunnel. And I was like, I could write bonus epilogues. And in exchange for people's newsletters, I could send them this free bonus scene. So that's what I started doing. A lot of readers were doing free reader magnets, which, they would write a novella and give it away for free. And obviously I can't write a novella. So, and I didn't want people who were looking for something free on my list. I wanted people who had read one of my books and loved it so much that they wanted more on my list. So that's why I focused on the bonus epilogues. And the first one that I remember that we did, Worst Best Man, I love that book. It was so funny. It was just this wild and crazy rom-com, and I couldn't stop writing about them. So I had the perfect bonus epilogue for them. And that book did really well for us. And we went from 5,000 subscribers to 30,000 subscribers with just that book.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's
impressive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy pants.
I didn't want to say it, but yes, it's crazy pants.
I think it's down to writing, compelling writing. It's down to you, Lucy, that one. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the content that you're putting in there. So you they're long, and and I'm using your own words here, but you said they were rambly. So I don't want to,
these are the newsletters,
I'm not saying
not the eclogues, just to clarify.
So no, I'm not talking about the epilogues. I'm talking about the newsletter.
The newsletter,
So can you just tell us about what the kind of content that you're putting in the newsletter? Why, almost 30% open rate with that many people is actually really impressive. So what are you doing to create that kind of a interest?
I think, honestly, I owe the pandemic for this one, because when, the last time we talked, things were very bleak. There was a lot of uncertainty in the world, and all of the news that I was seeing was pretty bad and pretty negative. And I am somebody where I can't just have a steady diet of all the bad things that are happening. I can't just consume all that negativity and tra-la-la-la-la go write my romantic comedies.
Yeah.
So I would have to go and start seeking out good news. I am a sucker for military homecomings. That's where my story Pretend Your Mind came from. I love the neighbors helping neighbors stories. I love to read an article that makes me cry in a good way, that shows like the good side of humanity. So I just was feeling very overwhelmed, and I didn't really have a lot of great stuff to say in my newsletter. So I started a good news section. And so every week, I think it may have started with John Krasinski's Some Good News, his show on YouTube. I saw the first episode of that and just like sobbed my face off because it was just so feel good. And I think that's what I try to deliver in my book. So I recognize that. And so every week since then, we have done a good news section. And if something bad is happening in the world, it's like a double helping of good news. But it's great. Readers submit stuff. My team is always on the lookout for stuff. And, one of my favorite things is reviewing the newsletter before it goes out and like reading all of those articles again and just getting all misty eyed. So that section is in every newsletter. Every newsletter also has a Dear Reader. So it's just a little letter update of what I've been doing. With the pandemic, I haven't been doing much. So there was a lot about my feud with a cardinal at my house.
Yes. Which followed you on holiday.
It did. Pecky showed up here in North Carolina, guys.
No.
First day here, I'm sitting on the deck and this freaking cardinal just lands on the railing next to me. I was like, no, you did not.
Feel fairly certain it's a different cardinal.
I really hope so. And he has not like flown into the window so I think it's Pecky's smarter cousin.
Right. Unless he hitched a ride.
It could be Mrs. Peck.
It's true. Well, Mrs. Pecky is like more brown. This was definitely a Mr. Pecky.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Maybe it got out through the Cardinal network that they needed to mess with you.
Yeah.
Where you are now at the beach.
He sent out a tweet.
Yeah. See, this is why you're the rom-com writer. And
I can't take credit for that. I can't take credit. A reader said that. I totally stole it from a reader. I'm so sorry, reader, but they're used to it. This is. I put a spite cow in one of my stories because a reader shared a news story about somebody whose dad got mad at their next door neighbor and he got a cow just to spite them. I'm like, oh, well, Riley Thorne's dad definitely has a spite cow now.
You got to use what you have. They are very, very funny newsletters, and that's part of, so you basically bring yourself into them, and that's why they're so good, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you think the Lucy Score brand is? Like, what do you try and be for your readers?
Marketing guy Rick tried to pinpoint this, and I really believe that it's hot mess.
I would say fun.
I mean, I'm a fun hot mess. I shower way less than I should. I never know where my car keys are. I did not know today was St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick.
I had no idea. I live in my head a whole lot. So I am a genuine disaster most of the time. And I feel like that comes across in most of my communications with my readers. I'm very non-threatening.
Disaster.
It's
but
true.
then maybe that makes you relatable, right?
Yeah.
I
You
hope
know?
so. I mean, otherwise I'm not seeing an upside.
Clearly, your Mr. Lucy actually does the organizational side of things.
He does. He keeps me on track. He's definitely the logical,
Thinker.
present,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally stable one of us.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But he can't write the books, right?
He cannot write the books. No.
Cool.
It's a good partnership, I suspect.
It is. It definitely works. I mean, that's the thing with working with your significant other. It's good that we're doing completely opposite things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complementing
Amen
each
to
other.
that. Yeah.
So let's talk a little. I'm going to go swing back round to your Facebook group soon, but this is all about being all over the place, which seems to be a theme.
Yeah,
on brand.
On brand. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you've got one of the topics we want to talk about was collaboration, and you did they've done books in collaboration with other authors, and you're working with your husband. So let's talk a bit about let's talk about the books first. So collaborating with other authors, how did that go for you? What kind of advice have you got for other people looking to do the same thing?
So this is the R part, right? I mean,
Yes.
the third R, relationships.
This is the pirate episode.
I wrote it down. R. So I worked with Claire Kingsley. We did a series together called Bootleg Springs, because we had a lot of crossover readers, and we both really enjoyed writing small town romances. And she was my first real author friend in the community, so it was a lot of fun. And she let me be as control freaky as I wanted to be. So it wasn't like, I wasn't writing a chapter and then handing it over to her and she was writing a chapter. It was, we decided in advance, okay, these are the books that we're going to write. These are the characters. We called dibs on which characters. We figured out the order of, alternating releases. We figured out.
So you wrote one book and she wrote the other? Is that how it worked?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we just beta read for each other to make sure that our characters stayed consistent. Wow. Yeah, so it worked out really well for me, because I don't think that I could just write a chapter and hand it over to somebody else. Like I need to see the story through. And Claire, in our partnership, Claire was very good at being organized. So that was the calming force there. So we did that collaboration. That was 6 books. And then we worked with our friends Catherine Nolan and Pippa Grant. And the 4 of us wrote the Blue Water Billionaires series, which we did in a similar way. Each one of us took a character and wrote that character's book. And the spin on that was they're all female billionaires, because Pippa got mad one day and was complaining in our group. She's like, I'm so tired. Why do men get to have all the money? This is I'm going to write a female billionaire. And I'm like, I am going to do that too with you. I said, I'm going to hold you to it. And if you don't, then I'm going to do it. And she's like, well, okay, maybe we can write this together. So the 4 of us planned that out. I think it was almost like 18 months in advance, because that's how far out our editorial calendars were. And we were just trying to get all our ducks in a row. And we launched 2 weeks apart. So it was like, and all 4 authors were promoting all 4 launches. So it was really hectic, but it was really fun.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for working with other people like that? Like,
I would definitely say, try to lay as much groundwork in the beginning as possible. I was very lucky. My friends are very dedicated to their crafts and their schedules. So we were never in a situation where somebody was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to write this book for you, but I didn't. It was, we all took it really seriously. So that, that was first thing you have to focus on. Find somebody who's going to take it as seriously as you. The second thing I would say is definitely lay all the groundwork in advance. I'm not saying you have to go outline the book or whatever, but, have a plan and make sure everybody's aware of that plan, because you're coordinating cover designs and blurb reveals and arc team, like how many arc readers are going to get all 4 books. And so just be really, really good at communicating and ask a whole lot of questions up front, I think, and be really choosy about who you are partnering with, because someone can be a great friend, but they can be a terrible business partner.
And it has to be fair when you're doing the marketing as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you all have to play a part in that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, those are all very, very good pieces of advice. I think that's
Thank you.
awesome. Yes, I approve. I give you the Trudy J stamp of approval. So, has anyone else got anything on collaboration?
I have a quick question. Do you feel like gut feel? I don't need numbers, but just a gut feel. Do you think it was your existing audience that kind of were the main readers, or do you think it really did bring new people into Lucy's world?
I think the collaborations definitely brought new people into me. There are so many readers out there who fall in love with a particular author and they haven't met that author's friends yet. And I think Claire, Catherine, and Pippa and I just, we get along so well in real life, and that comes across on the page. So it was just a very natural crossover, even though our styles are different. I think the project really brought a lot of new readers to each one of us. So that was a really cool thing to see. And it's, they've been out for, I don't know when the books came out. They've been out for a while, over a year for sure, probably 2 years. And it's just really fun to have somebody pop up in my reader group saying, oh, I found you through the Blue Water Billionaires series.
Yeah.
So it's really neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a great concept, that series. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I want to move back to the Facebook group, if we're okay with that. I'm just going to, zig and a zag. So the Facebook group, how long? So have you had that since the start? Like, how have you?
I think I started that, you know what? I'm not sure what year I started that. Do you remember when I started Binge Readers, Mr. Lucy? Okay, he made a face. I did not have it at the beginning of my career. In fact, I do recall Claire Kingsley saying to me, hey, have you thought about doing a reader group on Facebook? And I'm like, what's a reader group? So I did start it. I want to say, I know that we started it on Cinco de Mayo, which is hilarious because I love tacos and it was totally accidental, and just the whole group is more about tacos than books, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But so I know it was Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's 2017 maybe.
It's fine.
A couple years.
Yeah,
how many people have you got in there now?
A little over 8,000.
Nice.
But it's a Facebook group, and Facebook suppresses groups, and so I have like a few hundred active people, and probably the vast majority have never even seen a post in there. But but it's still, and you've got a great group,
and you got moderators, so that's quite handy.
Yep.
You would need that with that many people.
Yeah, we actually we have quite a few moderators in there just to cover. We have so many international readers, and we don't have post approval on. It's kind of a free for all conversation, and that's what I like. I don't want people coming in there thinking that I don't want them to talk about books or whatever is on their mind. Yeah. So we have a good vibe. It's a very positive place. But we have moderators who are available almost around the clock, just because there's so much going on in the group. It's nice that it's a whole other environment, and it's so much fun.
And what people need at the moment too, I think it's probably been very healthy for people over the last year.
I think so too, because we try to keep it positive. We also the one thing, we don't allow like man candy, because I don't want to get kicked off of Facebook, and no political posts, because I just wanted people to have a place where it was like safe to escape and talk about other things, after the last year. And so for the most part, people are really respectful of that vibe, and it really comes across. There's a lot of people who have become really tight friends because of that group, and I can't take credit for that. That's the readers creating that community. Cool, but it's really amazing. It's my happy place. I love every day. That's my treat. You know, I hit my
Yeah.
word count goal. I get to go into binge readers.
Nice.
And you're
Do you
active
go-
in there a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go in at a certain time or anything? Do people know to expect you, or is it just?
Lately, I have been only going on in the evenings, just because of I have a lot of work going on with I'm writing a new book and the launch is happening and all of that stuff. So I'm trying really, really hard to restrict myself from going down the Facebook rabbit hole until
So
at
easy.
least my writing's done for the day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm definitely not as active as I used to be, but it's just because I have so much more stuff going on than I did. But you can always tell when I'm done with the book, because then I'm in there 24/7 for like a week straight.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Hey, guess what? I took a shower.
Yeah.
And can I ask, did you choose your moderators from superfans, or is it some of your assistants working in there as well?
I actually, when it was just me for the longest time, and I think I was going to go on vacation and it was coming close to a launch, and I realized I wasn't going to be around as much. So I had 2 readers in there that had just the right vibe. They're just warm, friendly, happy, really into the romance community, really respectful, and not afraid to speak up. So I messaged both of them, Joyce and Tammy, and I said, I messaged them separately, and I was like, hey, you know, I really appreciate your efforts in the group, and I was wondering if you would be willing to be an admin. I think you would be the perfect fit, and I could use a little bit of help. And they both said no. They're like, thanks, but no, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm like, what? Are you kidding? This isn't going to be a lot of work. I just need someone to keep an eye on things every once in a while. And they were both like, okay, all right, we'll give it a shot. So fast forward however many years, and you know, we talk all day, every day. The 3 of us talk constantly. And we have grown we have all of the moderators in there now are really ravenous readers. You know, they're just like, they're good people with good hearts. And I think I may have met all of them in person too. So I really trust them with that space, and they've made it better than what I ever could have on my own.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
So when you say you've met them all, do you do reader events? Is that what that's from, or?
I've done a handful of signings in 2019.
In the olden days, before.
In the olden days.
Before
we could leave the house.
Before, pre-pandemic. My very first signing was in February of 2019, and it was at Nora Roberts' bookstore in Boonesboro, Maryland. And so it was in February in Maryland, and I'm like, nobody is going to come to this store to see me. So I just kind of like threw it out to the reader group, and because I was excited. Nora Roberts is my hero, and I couldn't believe that I was going to be signing and she was going to be signing. I was like, oh my gosh, dream come true. I was like, I don't care if any readers show up. I'm just going to like stare creepily at Nora Roberts as she signs books.
I mean, I just want to put my arm around Nora. Nora, can we just have a hug?
Nora, just look this
tuck
way.
in there, Nora.
So I just threw it out to the reader group, because who in the right mind is going to like go to Maryland in the dead of winter? And we had almost 50, we call my binge readers bras. Binge Readers Anonymous are bras. We had almost 50 bras show up to the store, and they wore Lucy Con t-shirts. To Nora Roberts bookstore, to Nora Roberts book signing. And it was the most fun. And
yeah, that's very cool.
Nora was lovely. Her publicist Laura was lovely. The bookstore was wonderful. They treated my readers so well. And Nora was joking that she wasn't going to take any pictures with the readers unless they took their Lucy Con shirts off. It was hilarious. I swear she was joking. I promise. But it was amazing. And so after the signing, my admin Tammy arranged for dinner for all of the bras. So we had like a private room in a restaurant, and we just got to like hang out and table hop. And I mean, it felt like a wedding reception. It was
So
amazing.
Cool.
It was right after my
Wow.
birthday. They got me a cake. It was the best thing ever. And
That's so
then
cool.
I guess I've only done 2 signings. The other signing was in Philadelphia in November of the same year. And that was wild. So I got to meet a bunch of other
Wow,
readers
that's so
there. And that
cool.
was a bigger signing. So there were several authors there, and it was a really neat experience, really well organized. I'm on the schedule to go back there this November. We don't know what it's going to look like, but got my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing we can't do. Not that we're as famous as you, but you know, where we are, you sort of have a signing here. I don't know that you'd get that many people.
You might get a couple of people.
It's not really. It's a cultural thing too, I think, and it's just not a.
We just don't do that.
No, but I mean, to be fair, basically what you've done is gone from playing football to going to the Super Bowl final with that Robert signing.
Yeah.
You know? So when you say you've only done 2, you've won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, already. You don't. If you
I
ever
mean,
do another one.
that's kind of downhill from here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Maybe no more signings.
I didn't want to say
I'm
it, but
done. I'm retiring. I mean,
Yeah, it's like
Nora Roberts, man.
I hope you got that photo on the wall. of you
I
and
do.
her.
I have, you know what? I didn't frame that one. I should. I have a really cute one of her, me, and Mr. Lucy. And
That's all right.
and it's adorable. She's looking at Mr. Lucy, not me, but I can't blame her. Yeah, I need to frame that one. I do. I have a framed picture of the line for Claire Kingsley and I shared a table at Indies Invade, and I have a picture framed in my office of the line for our table because it was so long. And Claire leaned over and she's like, "Is this our line?" And I looked up because I mean, we're literally just focused on the people right in front of us for hours. And I looked up, I'm like, "No, I think that's just people standing around talking." And it wasn't. They were in line for. I was like, "No, that can't be right. They're in line for someone else. That's not us."
They've got confused. Clearly,
like I think they don't know whose line they're in.
That's awesome.
brilliant.
Because you're I mean, I think this is a theme where I feel like it's a theme. Maybe it's just me learning stuff at the moment, but you're really reader focused and you're really amazing in terms of your connections that you build with readers. And I feel like is that something you've done consciously, or is it just who you are, or what? Yeah. Can you talk a bit about that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's also what attracted me to read and write romance. I mean, everything is about relationships, you know, everything in life. The most important things you have in life are your relationships with the people you care about or the people you don't care about, you know. It all comes down to relationships. And I think I just feel that very deeply. And when I'm writing a book, I focus so much on these two people getting to know and accept each other. And I think that has also carried over into real life because everybody has a story, you know, every single person that you meet has a story and they matter. And I think and as a writer, I'm just very naturally nosy and curious. So I'm always, you never know where that next book idea is going to come from. I want to know your story. I want to know how you met your husband or, you know, why you named your son this, or, you know, I want to know all of that.
That's a writer thing, isn't it?
Your story becomes my story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks.
I'll just not write that down.
Yeah.
I'll just change the name.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I never know.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that idea of people do matter. And I guess that's why we're writers too, right? Like that we all like that, figuring out things and the relationships between people. That's awesome. So I think we're running close to our time
like
here.
5 hours.
5 hours. No, it hasn't been. It doesn't feel like it's been 5. It feels like 5 minutes. But I just wondered, is there any kind of other, you know, words of wisdom, genius-like thoughts that are coming down from the universe and through you that you could give us and our listeners, just to talk about, you know, just about the writing life or anything?
Oh boy.
Jess is
Anything you want to say, say it now.
Don't put the pressure on or anything. Eh?
Words of wisdom, though. I don't want any.
You've got to be good ones.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay. All right. Okay. Man, I wish I would have had some alcohol for this. I get much more philosophical with some alcohol.
Well,
Okay. So wisdom for writers. I think what I really want every writer out there to know is that where you are is okay, and what you're doing is okay, and the way you're doing it is okay, and you do not have to be doing what everyone else is doing. You don't have to be following a set path that already exists. You don't have to be writing in this genre because everybody tells you to. You need to find your voice and your path, and that's when your books really start to become special. And it's hard. I mean, staying in your own lane is really hard, especially for nosy writers like us. But there's room for everybody. There's no one author can satisfy the voracious appetite of romance readers everywhere. So there's just so much room for you and the way you want to do things. That's what you need to remember, even when things are not going well. That doesn't mean that they're going to continue not going well. Just do you and find your way.
Wow.
Chills.
Awesome advice.
You are just a little ray of sunshine. I just want to.
Thank you.
Can you move to New Zealand, please?
I would love to. Yes. Okay. Mr. Lucy and I will move to New Zealand.
Awesome.
Excellent. You can be the 5th honorary spa girl. How about that?
Nice.
That sounds good.
We do have a few beaches as well.
I do like beaches.
Yeah.
So
islands.
I've got a final question. If I can actually turn it around a little bit, where does Lucy get her information from? So in terms of how do you forge your own path and not really keep too many focusing too much on what's happening out there in the self-publishing world, if you like, or are you like, where do you get your kind of knowledge from in terms of the business?
That's a good question.
It is.
Have you guys heard of Write Better Faster? It's a course by Becca Syme. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge we've had her on. Huge, go Becca. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I took her course, Write Better Faster, and for listeners who haven't, it's a really good class on basically why you do the things you do and why certain things work really well for you and others don't. So it's personality based. And one of the things that I found out about me is I'm really high input. So I need a constant flow of information coming at me, which by the way is which is it's terrible for when you're trying to sit down and focus and write a book. But when you're trying to figure out what's going on out there in the industry, it's really, really good. So I have to balance that. Mr. Lucy has to help me balance that, because I will just bebop into his office and be like, guess what I found out so-and-so is doing with their blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. And I'm like, no, I just want to tell you about it. I don't think I have to do it. But I'm really, it's only been in the last year or so that I've really come to terms with the fact that not everything is going to work for me, even if it works really well for other authors. So he's nodding effusively right now. So it's definitely, but I need to know what other people are doing. It's part of the nosiness. It's part of being aware of what's happening in the genre and the industry. But I now know that when I'm holding something up to try it on, I know what my natural strengths are, and I can let things go easier. Like TikTok, I don't know what TikTok is, and I don't think I'm going to be able to learn. I heard it's great, but I just don't think that I don't think I have the mental capacity for TikTok. So, you know, I won't be on TikTok. No. but you know, there's a lot of authors who are doing these adorable videos on it. And it's just, I can't be one, you know, I can't be one of them doing that. So it's really nice to be aware, but also be able to let go of the things that aren't going to serve you. I'm still learning.
I think we all are there.
We all are, until the day we die. We're still
we get all these amazing guests on with all these ideas. So after a podcast, we're like, I'm going to do that now.
Mind blown.
I love that. See, you all probably are high input.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe not all of us.
I think that's the beauty of that is I think the wisdom that boils down to is know thyself and actually be able to apply that filter on what works for you and also what feeds your creative spirit as well. You know.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So,
I think those things are really difficult to figure out when you're really new in this industry so you're going to go down rabbit holes. You're going to make poor choices. Yeah. But that's how we learn, you know, it's okay.
Learn by mistakes.
Well, that's awesome. So just one final quick question. What's next? What's coming up for Lucy Score?
I am currently writing Riley Thorne 2. I know I went off the rails last year and I have had this idea for a number of years and I finally committed to it. I was like, I'm going to write this. And I was very excited about this book. It's a reluctant psychic and her private investigator boyfriend. And there's a murder. Her next door neighbor is murdered. And I was really excited about this book and it's a little weird and quirky even for me. So it was one of those ones where I wasn't sure how readers were going to feel about it and they loved it. And I was so excited because I had already outlined 2 more books. So I'm writing Riley Thorne number 2 right now for a summer release. And I'm really excited. It's going really well.
Awesome.
Well done, you're prolific.
Thank you.
So awesome. So I think that might be us. We might have to wrap up. Unfortunately, we could keep chatting for hours, but we won't.
We could.
We managed to control ourselves.
Yes.
So where is the best place to find you if someone wants to come and stalk you in a nice way? Clearly.
You can find me at my website, lucyscore.com, or I'm on Facebook. I think it's Lucy Score Writes as my author page, or hop into Binge Readers Anonymous if you're nice and you don't mind taco memes.
There's a lot of those. They're great. Yeah.
I recommend that you check out Lucy.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And sign up for my newsletter.
Oh yeah, clearly because you need more people.
She needs right. I'm about to do another culling. I need to replace them.
But make sure you click and you open. Just saying.
Yes, I would appreciate the opening.
Awesome. And where can we be found?
Well, we would like a similar thing. Come along and sign up to our newsletter at spagirlspodcast.com, and we promise you a weekly dose of treats and goodies. Not as witty, probably, nor as long as Lucy's.
Exactly.
But we're out there as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you all for listening to another episode of the Spa Girls podcast. We are so happy that you came along for another episode, and we will see you again next week.
Bye.
Thank you, Lucy.
Bye. And thank you, Lucy. Bye.